Hello, welcome to lesson 2. So we introduced fractions yesterday. We talked about unit fractions. We're going to continue on the same path. We're going to talk more about fractions and learn a little bit more about them. So let's look at our example number 1. We are going to be looking at this guy right here. It says, the background paper of Mrs. Dempsey's bulletin board is divided equally into 4 stripes. What fraction of the bulletin board is green? So we have, there's one section is red, there's the yellow, the blue, and the green. So if we look at this, we can see the bulletin board represents one whole. The whole is divided into 4 equal parts, or fourths. And we're going to use a fraction to describe what part, or to talk about what part is green. So if we look at the whiteboard and it's 1, it's been broken into 4 equal parts, which is what we call fourths, or 1/4. I'm going to go over, and it says to use tiles. We don't have those. We're just going to trace over. I'm going to use green. Why not? And I'm going to trace over my tiles, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, what part is green? 1/4. The 1. It's what we call the numerator. The total parts are 4, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4 total parts. One of those parts is green. The part that is green is 1, or the numerator. The numerator tells the number of equal parts being represented. The denominator tells the total number of equal parts. So the total number of equal parts is 4, right? Because there's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The numerator is just the parts. So in this case, the green is just one part. So 1 part of 4. Okay? Let's turn the page and look at what example number 2 has for us. Example number 2 says, what fraction of the flag is red? Okay, so the total flag is broken up into 1, 2, 3 equal parts. Here's one part that's red, and here's another part, so 2 parts of the 3 are red. So we look over here, and 2/3 of the flag is red. 2 parts are red. The total number of equal parts, there's 3 of them. So we're going to write, they've given us the numerator, we're going to write the denominator right there, 3. And we read that as 2/3. So 2/3 written this way, right? Or 2, let's see, thirds of the flag is red. Okay, so the second part of this question is asking, explain why 2/3 is not a unit fraction. So if you remember, when we first talked about unit fractions, we talked about unit fractions simply being, 1 part, or actually 1 equal part. So since this fraction is 2 equal parts, it is no longer considered a unit fraction, right? So a unit fraction might look more like 1/3 or 1/4, right? And that is why it's not the same as a unit fraction. Okay, so let's continue with some guided practice. It says to complete the chart and write a fraction for each part. So let's look at this. This is one whole that has been broken into 1, 2, 3, 4 different parts. What is the part that is yellow? So if we look over here, 1, 2, 3. So the numerator is a 3. The denominator would be a 4 because it's broken into 4 equal parts. Now they want to know what is the part that is not yellow. The part that is not yellow is 1. So then this becomes 1 out of 4 equal parts. Number 2 is the same thing, just a different shape, only this time we have lots more equal parts. So let's go ahead and count how many equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So our denominator, or how many equal parts we have, is 8, right? That's how many equal parts total. How many parts of that are shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can write 5 as our numerator. Now, which part is not yellow? Go back and count. Whoops, we don't want that. 1, 2, 3. So our numerator becomes a 3. Our denominator does not change. It's an 8, right? Because there's 8 equal parts. Okay, turn the page with me to page 577. And let's look at independent practice. We are going to complete the chart, write a fraction for each part. So, let's count how many parts there are. 1, 2, 3. So we know that our denominator is 3. That's how many equal parts. How many are shaded? The same amount, so 3. Now for a quick minute, I want you to see 3 over 3 is equal to 1 whole, because all 3 parts are shaded out of the whole. So whenever you see a number over itself, you're going to know that it is equal to 1. Okay, let's look over and see what part is not blue. There are no parts that are not blue. We're going to put 0 over 3. Okay, number 4. Let's count how many parts we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So our denominator is 8. How many parts are shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our numerator is 6. Our fraction is what we call 6/8. Now we need to know what part is not blue. Here's our not blue. 2 are not blue. 2 parts out of 8, right? The denominator did not change. Okay, number 5. We need to find out what parts are blue, right? So let's count how many we have first. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the 8 parts becomes our denominator, and it's going to be our denominator for both. So if you want to write it under both, you can do that now. Okay, now they want to know what part is blue. So even though these parts are not right next to each other, we're still going to count them as 1 and 2. So 2 parts are not blue, 2/8. Now what part is not blue? Everything else that we didn't count in those 2 parts blue is going to go on top over there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So 6/8. Okay, let's look at number 6. What fraction of the honeycomb has bees? Okay, so the first thing I want to do is find out what is my total. What is the whole? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my denominator is 6. I'm going to count now what is the fraction that has bees? So now I need to go back and count the bees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My numerator is 5. So 5/6 would be the fraction of the honeycomb that has bees. Let's look at number 7. What fraction of the figure is not shaded? Okay, so let's count what our whole is first. We need to find out our denominator. 1, 2, 3. So our denominator is 3. Okay, let's look at what parts are not shaded. 1 part is not shaded. Okay, let's look at number 8, and it's asking us to shade each figure to represent the fraction. Okay, so my fraction is 2/4, or 2 parts out of 4. So we have 1 part, 2 part, 3 parts, and 4 parts. 2 out of those parts is what my fraction represents. So I need to shade 1, 2 of those parts, right? Okay, number 9. My fraction is 2 out of 8 parts. So this whole contains 8 parts. I need to shade 2 parts of that. So I can shade this way, 1, 2, or I can shade it this way, 1, 2, or I can shade it this way, 1, 2. Any combination doesn't matter. It's still 2/8. Now let's look at number 2. Now this is 2 over 2, right? And remember what I said, if you see a number over itself, what does it equal? It equals a whole. So if I'm going to shade 2 halves, it's going to look like this. That's 1 half. That's 2 halves. I'm going to shade the whole thing in because it's equal to a whole. Okay? The last part here, 11, 12, and 13 says to match each fraction to its word name. So 3 over 8 is the same as 3/8. 5 over 6, you guessed it, would be the same as 5/6. And 3 over 4 is the same as 3/4. Okay, turn the page with me to page 578. Your page should look like this. It is asking us to use math tools. The primary colors are red, blue, and yellow. The secondary colors are green, orange, and violet. Use the color wheel. This is the color wheel right here. To answer exercises 14 through 17. Okay, get a regular color back on my color. What fraction of the primary and secondary colors is red? Okay, the first thing I need to do is count how many colors I have here, or how many parts to my whole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I know my denominator is a 6. Now, what fraction of the primary and secondary colors is red? Let's go over to our color wheel, and we see that this is the red part. It's 1 part of the 6 equal parts that is red. Okay, let's do number 15. We're right here. What fraction is blue or orange? Okay, well, let's see. We still have 8 equal parts. We'll go back and write that. But first, let's find out what part of the fraction is blue or orange. So I'm going to shade in the blue, and I'm going to shade in the orange. That's 2 parts, right? So I'm going to go over here. My denominator did not change, still 6 equal parts, but now I have 2 parts that are shaded. Okay? Okay, let's look at number 16. What fraction is not violent? Again, my denominator did not change. It is still 6 equal parts. What I need to find out is what fraction or what parts are not violet. So that's violet. I'm going to leave that one alone. So here's 1. Maybe I'll do this instead. Let's see. Let's do 1. Can you see that? Not really. Let's change my colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 parts out of the 6 are not violet. Okay, number 17. What fraction of colors is not a primary color? Well, we have to go back and find and reread to make sure we're doing this right. So our primary colors were red, blue, and yellow. Okay, so what parts are not red, blue, and yellow? Three parts, right? So we know that there's 3 parts that are not primary colors. Our denominator didn't change because we still had 6 equal parts. So our fraction is 3/6. Okay? We're not going to worry about the hot problem. I want you guys to go ahead and do your homework. Page 579 and 580. If you have any questions, email me. We can always figure out how to get these questions answered, okay? Have your parents email me if you guys don't know how to do that yet. I'll see you on the next lesson.